Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi says no season to be off-season in Uttarakhand, emphasizes the need to diversify the tourism sector. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar calls for return of stolen territory from Pakistan, says Kashmir resolution near completion. Donald Trump's big ultimatum to Hamas: release hostages or face destruction, as US holds unprecedented talks for Gaza hostages. Volodymyr Zelensky to attend EU summit on Ukraine on Thursday. And in sports, New Zealand outclass South Africa to set up Champions Trophy final with India on Sunday. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the North Indian state of Uttarakhand as part of the state's winter tourism program. PM Modi performed puja at the winter seat of the Ganga river in Mukhwa village in the state. The puja ceremony of the Ganga river took place ahead of a public function in Harsil. The winter tourism program, initiated by the Uttarakhand government, seeks to boost the local economy by promoting religious tourism. The program has already seen thousands of devotees visiting the winter seats of Gangotri, Yamunotri, Kedarnath and Badrinath. With PM Modi's visit, the state hopes to further showcase its tourism potential and attract more visitors to the region. Prime Minister Modi, through his binoculars, was seen appreciating the views of the snow-covered Uttarakhand mountains. He was also seen waving at the crowd gathered to welcome him. And local Uttarakhandi men and women dressed in traditional Garhwali attire danced to folk songs circling around the Prime Minister. Further, the Indian Prime Minister walked through an exhibition put up on tourism and iconic tourist locations in the state of Uttarakhand that were displayed via photographs. PM Modi also flagged off a trek and a bike rally in Harsil. The rally aims at promoting adventure tourism in the region under the winter tourism program of Uttarakhand. Prime Minister Modi arrived at the Jolly Grant airport of state capital Dehradun on Thursday morning. The Prime Minister was received by Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, Assembly Speaker Ritu Bhushan Khanduri and other dignitaries upon arrival. And amid a thunderous applause and chants for him, the Indian Prime Minister was felicitated as he arrived on stage in Harsil. Various dignitaries of the Indian government were present on stage along with Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami. Addressing a public rally in Harsil, PM Modi emphasized on the need of diversify in the tourism sector. He said no season should be off season in Uttarakhand.
सर्दियों में देश के बड़े हिस्से में जब कोहरा होता है, सूर्यदेव के दर्शन नहीं होते, तब पहाड़ों पर धूप का आनंद मिल रहा होता है। ये एक स्पेशल इवेंट बन सकता है। और गढ़वाली में से क्या कहेंगे? घाम तापो पर्यटन। खासकर हमारे कॉरपोरेट वर्ल्ड के साथी वे विंटर टूरिज्म का हिस्सा बने। मीटिंग्स करनी हो, कॉन्फ्रेंसेस करनी हो, एग्जीबिशंस करने हो, तो विंटर का समय और देवभूमि इससे होनहार कोई जगह नहीं हो सकती है। मैं चाहूंगा कि सर्दियों में डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग के लिए भी उत्तराखंड को देशवासी प्राथमिकता दें।
And the Union Cabinet, headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on Wednesday approved the construction of ropeways at Kedarnath and Hemkund Sahib in Uttarakhand in a move that will significantly cut travel time to the two popular pilgrimage sites. The ropeways plan to be developed in a public-private partnership and will be based on the most advanced tri-cable detachable gondola technology with a design capacity of carrying 18,000 passengers per day. The ropeway project will be a boon to the pilgrims visiting Kedarnath, as it would provide an environment-friendly, comfortable and fast connectivity and reduce travel time in one direction from about 8 to 9 hours to about 36 minutes. The development of ropeway project is a significant step towards fostering balanced socio-economic development, enhancing last-mile connectivity in hilly regions and fostering rapid economic growth. Moving on, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar on Wednesday spoke about steps taken by the government for development in Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Responding to a question from a member of the audience at the Chatham House in London, Dr. Jaishankar said that India is waiting for the return of the stolen part of Kashmir, which is under illegal Pakistani occupation.
Look, on Kashmir, actually we have done, I think, a good job solving most of it. I think removing Article 370 was one step, number one. Then restoring growth and economic activity and social justice in Kashmir was step number two. Holding elections, which were done with a very high turnout, was step number three. I think the part we are waiting for is the return of the stolen part of Kashmir, which is on the under illegal Pakistani occupation. When that's done, I assure you, Kashmir solved.
US President Donald Trump has issued a stern ultimatum to Hamas leaders, warning of further destruction in Gaza if all remaining hostages are not released immediately. In a statement on his Truth Social platform, Trump threatened repercussions for Gaza's population, which has been largely displaced by Israel's military campaign. This comes as a ceasefire teeters, with Israel seeking to extend the first phase until mid-April and Hamas pushing for a transition to the second phase, which would lead to a permanent end to the war. France, Britain and Germany have condemned the humanitarian situation in Gaza as catastrophic, urging Israel to ensure the delivery of aid. The US has also confirmed direct talks with Hamas, with the US envoy on hostage affairs discussing American hostages. Trump's proposal to take over the Gaza Strip has been met with widespread condemnation, while Arab leaders have proposed an alternative plan to finance Gaza's reconstruction through a trust fund. European nations have unequivocally stated that Hamas must be stripped of its governing role in its Gaza Strip. This declaration came after a UN Security Council meeting where Arab countries' plan to rebuild Gaza was discussed. The plan is seen as a counter to US President Donald Trump's proposal for US control and resettlement of Gaza's residents. French diplomat Jaishankar emphasized that any future plan must ensure Israel's security, prevent Palestinian displacement and support unity under the Palestinian Authority. European nations have expressed support for these plans, with Dharmadhikari urging Israel to allow massive humanitarian aid deliveries, citing this as non-negotiable. Israel has blocked aid deliveries until Hamas accepts its truce terms. As Egypt unveiled the Gaza reconstruction plan on Tuesday while hosting an Arab League summit in Cairo, Israel and the US rejected the proposal. Hamas, on the other hand, welcomed the Arab proposal to rebuild the Gaza Strip under a future Palestinian Authority administration. The Trump administration rejected the plan, claiming that it does not address the reality that Gaza is currently inhabitable. The National Security Council spokesperson said President Donald Trump stands by his plan to rebuild Gaza. Moreover, Israel also rejected Egypt's plan, saying that it failed to address realities and accused the PA and the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, of corruption and support of terrorism. The plan consists of three major stages, including interim measures, reconstruction and governance. The first stage would last about 6 months. However, the other two phases would take place over a combined 4 to 5 years. Now, the United States has cut off intelligence sharing with Ukraine, a move that could cripple Kiev's ability to target Russian forces. CIA Director John Ratcliffe confirmed the decision on Wednesday, marking a significant shift in U.S. policy. The move underscores the Trump administration's hardball strategy, using military aid and intelligence as leverage to pressure Ukraine into negotiations. U.S. President Trump revealed on Tuesday that he had received a letter from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, signaling Kiev's willingness to engage in peace talks. Since 2022, U.S. intelligence has been vital to Ukraine's battlefield strategy. Meanwhile, the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt announced on Wednesday that U.S. may resume funding for Ukraine. The statement came as the talks over a minerals deal continue.
I believe what the National Security Council told me in regards to that was that they paused or they are reconsidering the funding for Ukraine.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Wednesday announced positive movement in talks with Washington, hinting at a potential high-level meeting soon. Kiev is urgently working to mend ties with its most crucial military ally after last week's tense clash between Zelensky and President Trump at the White House over how to end the conflict. Ukrainian Chief of Staff Andriy Yermak and U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz have already begun discussions. Zelensky hopes for concrete progress by next week. However, this development comes just hours after CIA Director John Ratcliffe confirmed the U.S. had paused intelligence sharing with Ukraine, raising questions about America's shifting stance.
Всі бачать, наскільки швидко.
Everyone can see how quickly diplomatic events are unfolding. Today, our teams, Ukraine and the United States, have begun working on a meeting. Andriy Yermak and Michael Waltz have spoken, and there is a positive movement. We hope for the first results next week.
Є позитивний рух.
Now, the Dutch government will reserve $3.8 billion to continue with support for Ukraine in 2026. Netherlands Prime Minister Dick Schoof said the funds would ensure Dutch support to the region, adding that the money could also be used in 2025 if necessary. The previous Dutch government had already earmarked a comparable sum for support through 2025. The Netherlands has been a steadfast supporter of Ukraine with a focus on military aid, criminal investigations and reconstruction efforts. Now, European Union leaders will convene on Thursday for a special European Council summit focused on European defence and continued support for Ukraine. In a statement on Wednesday, the European Council said that leaders will assess how the EU can further assist Ukraine and establish principles for further actions. Discussions will also cover European contributions to security guarantees aimed at ensuring lasting peace in Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has been invited to participate in the meeting. And French President Emmanuel Macron on Wednesday announced he would discuss extending France's nuclear deterrent to European partners and raise the possibility of sending European troops to Ukraine to enforce a peace deal. Speaking in a televised address to the nation, the French president said European military forces could be sent to Ukraine if a peace deal is signed to ensure that Russia does not attack its neighbor again. He further said that Europe must be prepared to go it alone in defending Ukraine with or without further assistance from the United States.
Nous réunirons à Paris.
As soon as next week, we will gather in Paris army chiefs who wish to take their responsibility in this matter. And so this is a plan for a solid, lasting, verifiable peace which we have prepared with the Ukrainians and several European partners and which I defended in the United States 2 weeks ago and across Europe. And I would like to believe that the United States will stay by our side, but we have to be ready if this isn't the case.
Resteront à nos côtés. Mais
Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. US grants 1-month tariff exemption for automakers after talks with Ford, GM and Stellantis. The first commercial mission of Europe's new heavy lift rocket Ariane 6 rescheduled for Thursday. And DD India highlights the importance of women's health in conversation with leading gynecologists ahead of International Women's Day.
This is a special episode focused on the extraordinary achievements of India's G20 presidency and its continuing legacy.
India is the only country which has been able to achieve success on close to 112 outcomes in 88 different paragraphs. This extent of consensus on a very, very ambitious and inclusive agenda has never before been achieved. There was positivity, there was optimism, there was confidence, and there was a perspective that India would provide good leadership which would be fair, just and ambitious and inclusive. And that is what India did.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. The United States on Wednesday granted a 1-month exemption on its new tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada for US automakers. The pause comes after Trump spoke with leaders of the big three automakers, Ford, General Motors and Stellantis on Wednesday. The White House said the US is also open to hearing about other products that should be exempted from the tariffs, which took effect on Tuesday.
We spoke with the big three auto dealers. We are going to give a 1-month exemption on any autos coming through USMCA. Reciprocal tariffs will still go into effect on April 2nd, but at the request of the companies associated with USMCA, the president is giving them an exemption for 1 month so they are not at an economic disadvantage. So the three companies that he spoke to are Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors. They requested the call, they made the ask, and the president is happy to do it. It's a 1-month exemption.
Wall Street stocks rallied after the announcement, with shares of the three automakers each surging about 6% or more. The American Automotive Policy Council said it applauded Trump's move. US President Donald Trump accused Canadian leader Justin Trudeau of playing up a Canada-US trade war to cling to power after they spoke on phone on Wednesday. Trump in a social media post said that Prime Minister Trudeau was unable to tell him when the Canadian election is taking place, which made him curious. Trump further wrote that he then realized that Trudeau is trying to use this issue to stay in power. Trump again took a dig at the Canadian leader, calling him Governor Trudeau and accusing his administration's weak border policies of allowing tremendous amounts of fentanyl and illegal immigrants into the US. He also said the call with Trudeau ended in a somewhat friendly manner. Trudeau and Trump have had a fractious relationship since Trump's return to the White House in January, as the pair sparred over trade and fentanyl trafficking. US Vice President J.D. Vance said that the US intends to increase resources at the southern border, including artificial intelligence-related technologies, as he concluded a tour of a portion of the US-Mexico border. Vance, accompanied by US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and US Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard viewed the border from a military helicopter toward a detention facility and held a roundtable discussions with Texas officials. Vance said the visit drove home the need to finish building the physical border wall, but also to include the use of AI to monitor the area. He added that the US military continues to focus its attention on Mexican drug cartels, but stated that the US has no intention of invading Mexico as part of that fight.
We're using artificial intelligence to make us better at the job of border enforcement, but we've got to make sure that technology is deployed across the entire American southern border. We're going to do it as much as we can, as broadly as we can, because that's how we're going to protect the American people's security.
And the first commercial mission of Europe's new heavy-lift rocket Ariane 6 has been rescheduled for Thursday. French company Arianespace announced after an anomaly forced a last-minute postponement. The already twice delayed rocket was slated to lift off Monday but had to be delayed after the discovery of a dysfunctional valve. The high-profile mission aims to carry a French military satellite into orbit, as well as more broadly to establish independent European access to space without reliance on either the United States or Russia. It comes as Europe's commercial space industry struggles to remain competitive in the face of Elon Musk's SpaceX. Sports now. In Champions Trophy, New Zealand cruised past South Africa by 50 runs in the second semi-final to set up title clash against India at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium on Sunday. New Zealand stormed into their 7th ICC final after posting a score of 362, which is the highest in Champions Trophy history. The Kiwis will face a confident Indian team in the finals, who have won all of their matches in the tournament, including the one against New Zealand in the group stage. And as we approach International Women's Day, DD India is celebrating the achievements of women across various fields. Women's health remains a crucial aspect of empowerment, and to shed light on key challenges and solutions, DD India correspondent Kriti Vadhera spoke to a leading gynecologist. Take a listen.
This Women's Day, as we celebrate the inspiring stories of strength of the women, joining us today is Dr. Anjali Taneja, a leading gynecologist. I welcome you, Dr. Taneja, on DD India. First, to begin with, I want to know what was your success mantra of your career?
Hard work, consistency, taking challenges head on as they came, and never lose, get up and fight back.
So over a period of time, we have seen that there's a lot of awareness in terms of health, if we talk about health amongst women. How do you see this awareness?
There's definitely the awareness has increased. The females are much more focused about how they manage themselves during their journey, starting from puberty till menopause and later. Girls are more aware in adolescence. The more number of patients have started coming from cervical cancer vaccination. There is awareness about pap smear. There is awareness about how your period should start. That, like, many patients are getting their periods early, so mothers are concerned about their girls. And then every issues, a lot of pubertal issues or sexual health issues are not rushed below they're not pushed below the doormat anymore. So people have become more open about talking their concerns, and their self-awareness also, courtesy social media. People are now getting access to information more easily.
Doctor, you spoke about the positive aspects of this awareness on social media and media. So are there also any negative impacts we talk about, or which women have to take care of?
On social media, there are a lot of influencers, a lot of people talking about every domain of health. Probably people who are not qualified enough or who have not done their research enough to say on a particular subject. So every advice should not be accepted blindly. Take it with a pinch of salt. Do your own research. Check with your doctor whom you trust.
What would be your key advice to maybe the budding doctors who want to come for this career, maybe pursuing gynecology?
So any young girl or boys who want to be gynacs, please remember it's a branch which wants you to work day and night throughout your life. So there is no shortcut to it. It is a demanding branch. You are simultaneously dealing with two lives, and you're dealing with a female who the first contact in India comes largely when the patient is pregnant. So that is an emotional journey for the female, for the family. So you're connected to your patients emotionally, you're connected to them medically.
So this was Dr. Anjali Taneja telling us how we can empower ourselves in terms of health. With camera person Mohit Joshi, I'm Kriti Vadhera reporting from New Delhi for DD India.
Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.